What we're going to do in this video is take a look at our upper left block. And here, it doesn't look so obvious. So if we look visually, it's kind of hard to tell what's happening here. I can look, and these bolt holes don't seem to be equidistant apart. That does seem to be an issue. Like if I look at the lower right block, those seem to have an equal distance between them. That seems to be a little bit close. And then let's take a look, because it's obvious this is a countersunk hole and there's a bolt missing. So it's interesting. Let's see if we rotate it around. Oh, it looks like this should be a bolt hole and this should be a bolt hole. So this should be bolt. This should be bolt. These other two look like they're going to be pins. So yeah, it looks like they've got the bolts in the wrong place based on what they know. That one is supposed to be a bolt. That looks good, actually. These two should be pins, and this one should also be a bolt. So we should have counter bores here and here. Let's see what we can do here. I think let's go into the part studio. And first off, one of the big things I noticed right off the bat is something gives here, right? These two top, they look okay, but these look a little bit far away from the bottom here. So let's see what's going on here. I'm in the part studio, so I'm looking at the upper left block, so I'll go ahead and expand that. And since it's this hole, it looks like that's this 0.240, but what I need to edit is not necessarily the hole right now, although that's going to have to change. I want to edit that sketch where they put the point in. So I'm going to go right click on sketch 12 and say edit. Yeah, and if I look at that, it looks like the 0.375, that looks okay, but the 1.25 does not. Let's rotate that around to the back, and we can actually click bottom here. When it does do that, you can use these arrows and change them up a little bit. Just kind of click it until it rotates around. This looks to be not far enough, right? So I'm going to double click. I'm going to try like a 1.5 there. Ah, yeah, that's perfect. It lined it right up, didn't it? Let's go ahead and check mark that. Oh, yeah, now the holes line up. So that one, that moved where it's supposed to. I'll bet you when we find the sketch for that, we're going to need to do the same. So let's click that, and it goes to this hole. So I need to move the point, though. So that is part of sketch 11. So I'm going to click off and say right-click sketch 11 and say edit. And I'll bet you, if I go ahead and square this up, hit the top, I'll bet you if I change the 1.25 here as well to 1.5 and then press that green check mark, that lined it up pretty good too. Okay, now I know it didn't look like it, but if we come around here and we take the visibility of this base bottom off, it lined it up perfect, didn't it? Okay, so we can see that. But remember, we had some issues here because we've got some things here that are not the right hole. It looks like to me the only correct one is right here. This is supposed to be a bolt, a countersink. Let's go ahead and throw that base bottom back up, the visibility. See, that one is supposed to be a counter bore, and it is. And then we've got another nut down here, so that hole right here should also be a counter bore. These two, this one and this one, really need to be just a regular hole for a pen. So let's take a look. Maybe we can get lucky and some of these will share the same sketch. So let's see here, or the same hole pattern. So if I click that, if I click this hole, it shows me that it's 0.177. But look at that, if I highlight it, it's this hole and this hole at the same time. So that actually works out really well. So let's go ahead and let's right click on the hole, because remember, it's located right now. So it's not the sketch. This time it's the actual hole itself. So we'll right click on it and say edit. Yeah, and all of this, it's set up to be a counter bore, which is, it's not right. So we're going to click simple and change this up a little bit. So for the diameter here, for the diameter of this hole, remember that is either the 0.179 or the 4 millimeter size hole. So I just typed in 4 mm and I'll press enter and that'll change it up. and I'll use the green check mark there. Okay, so those are correct. All right, now remember this hole here, right? Here's a nut, so this hole should be a counter bore. So let's see which one that is. And it says this 0.248 in, okay, so we'll right click on it. We're actually going to edit the hole again. So we'll edit. And then this should be counter bore. We'll have to switch that over. Our diameter here, it looks okay. That looks okay, but this should be 0.177 instead of the 0.248. So let's look at that. If we rotate that around, that looks much better. Okay, so all I really did here was change the diameter of the through hole. And we know our counter bore should already be set at the 0.31 and the depth was 0.165. Let's click the green check mark and see what happens here. Yeah, that looks much better. So if we rotate that around, you can see that the counter bores right here, they line up with where the nut would kind of recess back in there. These two holes would be for pins. So what we're doing, as we rotate that around, this thing is going to line up and it's going to work really well. Let's go ahead and go to the assembly. And as we look through here, we have to recognize that they would be using a bolt here and a bolt here. And they would be using their pins in both of these holes. And what you're seeing here, this is where the bolt was previously. Remember, these two bolts are going to stay there, but they are incorrectly placed. So this should be a pin and this should be a pin. So eventually they would move those out.